From Italy's most trusted influencer to accused of misleading charity marketing, fined over 100 million euros, taken to court and put through a criminal case. This is the rise and fall of Chiara Ferragni's reputation. Chiara Ferragni is known for posting her own outfits and running a personal blog. She grew large enough that brands and luxury houses partnered with her.
I'm very excited. I don't know what's coming. Gucci means being Italian, so I'm very surprised to see what's gonna happen during this show.
And she later ran a company worth millions of dollars. However, after Italian authorities looked into misleading charity-linked promotions, she was fined and investigated. Brands and fashion events gradually pulled away. Years later, after the backlash and damage were already done, a judge acquitted her, meaning she was cleared of any criminal wrongdoing. So how did someone running a multi-million-dollar company end up here? To understand that, we have to go back to how it started. Chiara Ferragni started in the late 2000s with a fashion blog called The Blonde Salad. At a time when social media influencing barely existed, she was already building an audience by sharing outfits, travel, and personal moments. What made her different was timing and scale. She grew with the internet. As Instagram exploded, so did her reach. Brands noticed. Fashion houses noticed. Soon, Chiara Ferragni was not just promoting products, but collaborating on them. She launched her own fashion line, sat front row at fashion shows, appeared on magazine covers, and worked with luxury brands that once ignored influencers entirely. By the late 2010s, she had become a global business figure. Universities studied her brand. Forbes listed her. She represented the idea that influence could be desirable and profitable. Trust was the foundation of everything, but that trust would later be tested. In late 2023, Chiara Ferragni partnered with Italian food company Bolocco for a holiday campaign involving a pink Pandoro cake. The campaign tied the product to charity. Marketing suggested that buying the Pandoro would help support a hospital treating sick children. The issue wasn't that no money was donated, it was how the donation was presented. Italian authorities later said the donation had already been made before the product even went on sale, while the ads made it seem like every purchase helped fund the cause. As a result, buyers believed they were helping just by buying the product. Regulators said that belief came from misleading advertising. This controversy became known as the Pandoro Gate. At that point, Italy's main consumer protection regulator, the AGCM, stepped in to investigate misleading advertising and unfair business practices. In December 2023, the AGCM announced sanctions against companies linked to the campaign. The total fines exceeded 1 million euros. Chiara Ferragni's companies were penalized, and Bolocco was penalized. The authority ruled that the campaign violated consumer protection laws by presenting charity messages in a misleading way. This was not just a warning, it was a public condemnation. And the backlash was immediate. Social media turned on her saying, "Bah, I can't believe it." For sure, Chiara Ferragni. No bullshit. Just marketing. Have the decency to speak things like they really are. What a shitty figure. They caught you. But it is all false. Commercial ads only. Obviously, they felt deceived. And soon after, some partnerships quietly ended. Others paused. The image of Chiara Ferragni as a safe, trusted face took serious damage. She issued an apology, announced additional donations, and said she had underestimated how the campaign would be perceived. But by then, the story had grown beyond damage control. What started as a regulatory issue became a criminal case. In January 2025, Reuters reported that Milan prosecutors had decided to send Chiara Ferragni to trial on charges of aggravated fraud. This escalated everything. Aggravated fraud is not a branding issue, but a criminal accusation. Prosecutors argued that consumers were misled for profit through how the charity was presented in the campaign. Her defense pushed back hard, and her legal team argued there was no intent to deceive. They described the situation as a communication failure, not fraud. Ferragni herself maintained that she never intended to mislead anyone, and that the charitable donation had always been real. The case continued for years, and it eventually led to financial consequences. Reports suggested her revenue dropped significantly. A flagship store closed. Her brand value took a hit. Italian fashion entrepreneur and global digital influencer Chiara Ferragni, known for transforming her personal image into a multi-million-euro lifestyle brand, saw her companies TBS Crew and Finis report combined losses of 5 to 7 million euros in 2024. This month's financial statements show that TBS Crew posted a 2.3 million euro loss, while Finis recorded a 3.4 million euro deficit. The downturn reflects a broader reconstructing effort and a partial suspension of operations initiated in 2023 as the brand reevaluated its strategy. Even without a verdict, the damage was already done. Finally, in January 2026, the case reached its conclusion. On January 14, a Milan judge acquitted Chiara Ferragni. The court ruled that the legal requirements for aggravated fraud were not met. In simple terms, the judge found that while the marketing may have been misleading from a consumer protection standpoint, it did not rise to the level of criminal fraud. The criminal case was over. Ferragni responded publicly, calling the ordeal a nightmare. She thanked her legal team and said that she could finally move forward. And yet she did not disappear. A week after her acquittal on January 14, 2026, Chiara Ferragni landed a major fashion campaign as the face of Guess for spring and summer 2026. Her main social account also remained active, with her continuing to post to an audience of around 28 million followers later that month. Legally, the case was over, yet public reaction was harder to settle, as it usually is. But what's your take? Subscribe, or next time, you'll only be able to buy cake from her.